Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Sage 50 Cloud versus Sage Business Cloud Accounting webinar. Guys, I have started to record, and tomorrow at this time, you should receive an email. In that email, you will receive your certificate of attendance as long as your email address is correct, with a link that you can fill out where you can give feedback on how you found this webinar, and you can rate myself, as well as the recording of this specific event. So guys, as discussed, we're going to be speaking about the difference between Pastel Accounting and between Sage Business Cloud Accounting. The way that the webinar is going to run is that I am going to go through what the difference is between a cloud-enabled and a cloud product. Then I'm going to specifically go through some of the features in both and possibly tell you where things are different or how you do something in one that is in the other, but it might be set up in a different way, or it might be called something different. And that can be very difficult if you're working in a product that you've been working in for years. So guys, firstly, I want to talk about the difference between a cloud-enabled, which is what Sage Pastel Accounting is. It's a cloud-enabled product and a cloud-native product. So if we look at Sage Pastel Accounting, firstly, Sage Pastel Accounting has an installation. So in order for you to get access to Sage Pastel Accounting, you have to go and download the application from the website. So that's the first thing. Why do you need to install this? And you need to install this on the desktop of your operating system. In the beginning, I went to go and log into my Sage Business Cloud Accounting. I opened a web browser and I typed in the address. I don't need to run an install. So, Cloud Enabled requires an installation. It has to be installed onto your computer. You then have to create backups. If there is an update, you need to, again, go to the website and you need to choose to actually run those updates. So guys, how is a cloud enabled then? Because actually it seems like, for those of you who maybe are technical, it just seems like a normal desktop application, much like, you know, Word was a few years ago before 365. You know, I install software, it's on my desktop, I can only access it from my computer, and that's all I can do. Now, a lot of products are still desktop, but they have plugins, so they have cloud plugins. So what that means is there are applications that are cloud that can plug into this desktop application to give you a bit more functionality. Now, some of those plugins are things like Sage Contact for Outlook. So what happens is you would sign up to have Office, I think it's Business Premium that you have to have, Office 365 Business Premium. And you would sign up for that, and it will give you access to certain functions in Office 365, like your Outlook and Sage Contact, which allows you to view your customers and your suppliers depending on your options. So guys, what I mean by that, very quickly to show you, is when we set up our customers and our suppliers, you choose whether you want it included in the Office 365 configuration. If you choose to have it included, then it will show in your Sage Contact on Outlook. And so there's that. There's Sage Capture. Sage Capture allows you to capture your expenses on the go. So you take a client out for coffee, you can then take a picture of the slip, not the coffee. You take a picture of the slip, and the slip will then take you to a journal that you can quickly go, okay, we were at Mug and Bean, and this is client expenses, and it was 50 Rand, and it will actually work out the tax and everything based on the slip, but you will choose which GL accounts to affect. It will then go to someone for approval. They will either decline or approve it. If they decline, they'll tell you why. If it's approved, it'll go through. And then we have mobility. Mobility is basically you can sell goods online, and you can have your salespeople do your mobile sales. And guys, again, you just need to set it up. And those are all plugins, third-party applications that work with Pastel. But no, you can't just access your Pastel anywhere unless you have a laptop and you are a single user and you're not going to affect anyone else. So guys, technically Pastel is still a desktop application. It is not cloud native, it's cloud enabled. The package itself is not in the cloud. It is still on your system. You still have to make your backups. You still have to update the system. Now, if we look at a cloud native product, that would be our Sage Business Cloud Accounting. Firstly, most cloud native products or all cloud native products, there is no installation, guys. You normally open up a web browser, you go to the login page, and you log in. So this is something with cloud native. There is not necessarily a desktop installation. Now 365, you can just access from the web, or you can download the desktop versions and use them together. So it's an all-round package. But most cloud native products, you have an internet page where you log in and you log in. There is no install, there is no backups, there is no, oh, is this the latest build? You will always be on the latest build. We will send you a message. We will tell you, hey, on the 30th of November, for example, we are going to be doing maintenance from this time to this time, and you will not be able to access the package. We will then put you on the latest build. If there are any issues with that build, everyone's going to have the problem. So it's not, I don't want to upgrade. You have to. You don't have a choice in a cloud native environment. There is no choice on, I want to wait and see how this goes. Unfortunately, we schedule the maintenance and you then have to go ahead with the maintenance. If you are using Sage Business Cloud Accounting or a cloud native product, yes, you have to be connected to the internet at all times. That is a very good point. Thank you for that. So guys, the point that's been made by a delegate attending this is, so in a cloud native environment, you have to be connected to the internet at all times when you work. Yes. However, if you are using cloud enabled, you don't. It is advised to be connected just because of the connected apps. But if you aren't using those apps and you don't want to be connected, you don't have to be connected to the internet with a desktop application. So all cloud native products, yes, you need an internet connection. Guys, that is the main difference between cloud native and cloud enabled. That being said, obviously what happened last year with the pandemic and that's continuing this year has caused a lot of issues for a lot of people, especially when we were put in a lockdown where we were told we couldn't leave our houses. And many people suddenly worried and they were like, oh, especially in a multi-user, I need people to be able to work. We have to go cloud native because everyone can work on the same system at the same time. And you are absolutely correct. So that's where cloud native became, you know, a very big thing for a lot of people. That being said, that doesn't mean that you can't run Sage 50 Cloud as a cloud solution. Now, this is where I lose a lot of people. So guys, again, as I said before, if I say something that does not make sense, or you feel I'm talking down to you, I'm using words that don't make sense, I'm speaking to you like you are a techie, please let me know. It's not purposeful. I just then need to think of another way to explain this. So we've explained that Pastel is a desktop application, and I know some of you might be going, wait, Joanne, that makes no sense. You've just said it's not cloud. Guys, there's a way to run desktop applications, any desktop application, as a cloud solution. And that is by investing in something called a cloud hosted server. So guys, this is what you need to do. Here you can see, you can also look at the difference between cloud versus a hosted server. So what has happened is people have server farms. And in these server farms, they will create virtual machines and give you space in these virtual machines. Okay, so guys, okay, this is also, I see that someone's like, wait, I'm getting confused with all the names. Okay. Sage 50 Cloud, Pastel Accounting is Pastel Partner and Pastel Express. Are those of you attending this happy if I actually refer to Sage 50 Cloud as Pastel? Because it used to just be called Pastel Accounting, and I understand the name is confusing. In fact, I was vehemently against the whole cloud part of it, to be honest, because it's very confusing and it makes people believe it's cloud native, and it's not. So 50 Cloud and Pastel Partner Express are the same thing. Guys, let me know if you have a problem if I just call it Pastel, because I don't want to confuse you. Then Sage Business Cloud Accounting is SBCA. So 50 Cloud is Pastel Partner, and I'm just going to refer to Pastel going forward and Pastel Accounting. And SBCA I will call Sage Business Cloud Accounting. They're two separate things. So this is Pastel Accounting. This is Sage Business Cloud Accounting. So I hope that makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't. Happy to go through it. Guys, as I said there, you could see cloud versus a hosted server, but basically all that this is people create a VM for you. You will basically get hold of a service advisor. I know of AfriHost. I know of, I'm trying to think, Host Africa, and I'm sure there are many others. The only reason I know of those two is I've helped clients who have hosted servers in those environments. I cannot tell you which one is better, but you can choose to do this, and you would then get hold of your service provider and go, hi, I need a server. It needs to run this Windows software. It needs to have this much space. This many people are going to be connecting to it. And they will then tell you how much you will have to pay for that service. But what you have to bear in mind is, yes, now they will give you something called RDP Access, which is basically they give you a little link that you click on, you enter a username and a password. So it's a little app, and I don't think mine is on my desktop anymore. I'm so sorry. No, sorry guys, I'm just going to put my screen back. No, so normally someone will put it on your desktop and you will know that you need to click on that, like a normal app. For example, like if I had to do my Log Me In rescue, I have to log in here in order to be able to actually give you what you need so I can log in. It's very similar. So this allows me access to log into your machine. And as you can see, I've got to enter my email and everything. You will be given a username and a password. You will then log on, very much like TeamViewer, very much like Log Me In, but it's called RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol. And you will log on using that. Everyone will then be logged onto the server, and again, you will need an internet. You will need an internet connection. Sorry, I saw a question popped up. You will need an internet connection. Now, guys, when we talk about that, when the pandemic hit, I did a whole article, and if I confused any of you again, I apologize, where I tried to explain the difference between RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol, and a virtual private network. And I'm going to try again, guys, because I do get this question a lot where people go, okay, if I want to stay with Sage 50 or I want to stay with Pastel Accounting, can I use a VPN rather than this RDP? And guys, I'm going to give you my personal advice, which is please don't. And the reason for that is a virtual private network. When you're working on that, all that you've done is you've set up a link between your machine and the server that is running the software that allows the VPN. When you process, you are processing over the internet. That is dangerous because it depends on your speed, it depends on the traffic, it depends on the traffic from everyone else trying to gain access to that VPN within your company. And although the company may have 100 meg line or whatever they have, that does not mean that you are running at that, because It is your connection to that server. What the company has doesn't come into effect. So if you drop packets trying to update to Pastel on the server that is 25 Ks away, guys, you're going to have data corruption. In this instance, if you want to stick with your Sage Pastel, you want to run as a cloud solution, please look into a cloud hosted server and rather use RDP. Or if your IT guys can set it up on your server, you can buy remote desktop protocol licenses. And the difference between that and a VPN, as I said, VPN, you're processing over the internet. RDP, it is the same as TeamViewer. It is linking you or allowing you to interface with the server, but you are actually working on the server. So you're not going to have drop packets. It's just the screen is letting you see what you're doing. That's what the internet connection is doing. If you lose internet connection with an RDP, you're not going to destroy your data at all. And thank you for that question again about the internet, because it explains this very well. The server will continue to update. You will have just lost your connection to see what you're doing on the server. If you lose internet connection and you are on a VPN, whatever information you are updating is going to be gone, and you're going to have data corruption. So guys, my advice, please don't do VPN. It's very risky. RDP is just safer. And then you can run Pastel as a cloud solution. It's just not cloud native. So you would still have to pay us our licensing fee and pay the service provider if you're going to have a cloud hosted server. Then guys, there was another question. How would we access history on cloud native if the installed software is no longer available when you migrate? Well, I'm not sure that I'm understanding when you refer to history. Are you referring to your accounting history? Because that's always available, guys. Or are you referring to an older version? Because what happens is your version is always on the latest version and you can always open that, but your history should always be there. I will show you how the history works in Sage Business Cloud Accounting, and then it's up to you to decide if you are happy with that. And guys, I'm not trying to sway anyone's opinion here, whether Pastel is better or Sage Business Cloud Accounting is better. All that I'm trying to do is give people the facts on how you can run as a cloud solution if we need to in this vastly changing technological landscape that we find ourselves in, because there's a huge push to be cloud. And this is the reason for these sessions. Just in case I've never mentioned that, that's why we're doing it. If you are on Sage Business Cloud Accounting and you see something on Pastel Accounting where you're like, I think that's the better product for me, that's not a problem at all. This is to show you the differences, for you to understand the differences, to know what you're getting into, and if you need to make business decisions based on your software to make the best one for you. That's why I'm telling you, although Sage Pastel Accounting is desktop software, you can run it as a cloud solution. There's just a way you have to do it. So just giving you all the facts, guys. Okay, if we're referring to the accounting history, don't worry about that. I will show you that once we get into the programs themselves. Otherwise, guys, I think I've answered all the questions on this little section. Is everyone happy? Do we feel that we understand the difference? We know who's who in the zoo, what does what, and we're cool with that. We're like, okay, we get Pastel Accounting desktop, but you can run it on a cloud hosted server. And Joanne has advised, and people can disagree with me, I don't mind that, remote desktop protocol is the best way to do the cloud integration if we are going to do that with Pastel. However, Sage Business Cloud Accounting is cloud native. Guys, are we all happy? Does anyone feel lost? Does anyone feel, hey Joe, I need you to explain this to me in a little bit more detail, I'm not following you? Because guys, that is okay. I really just want to make sure we're all on the same page. If you're happy, if you can just put there happy for me. If you do need me to explain, please just type it through. Okay, awesome. Guys, then I'm going to jump through into why you're probably here. Because why a lot of people are here is they want to know the differences. They're like, okay, I've heard that this is really cool. And guys, if anyone doesn't understand what I was talking about just now, please send it. If I see it in the questions, I will come back. I just don't want to sit for too long and then, you know, we waste a lot of time. So I'm going to jump into the programs, but if you do need me to go back to the explanation, I'm happy to do so. The majority of people said they're happy. So guys, basically we want to look at the differences between the programs, especially if you are using one and you're thinking of going to the other, because you've probably heard things about the one that sounded great or the other that sounded great and you're interested. So I'm going to start with my product, which is Pastel Accounting. I've been with Sage for 12 years. I'm one of their specialists. There are 3 of us. So guys, I'm very comfortable here, and I can understand if you're thinking of moving to Sage Business Cloud Accounting, that may seem daunting. I do want to tell you it's probably not as daunting as you think. They are both accounting packages. That's something that you need to bear in mind. And if you've been working on one, you understand accounting. It's just to understand how to do stuff in the other. So Pastel Accounting deals with what am I doing? Am I viewing? Am I processing? Am I editing? So if you're editing, it's everything you can edit. It's basically you're creating customers, suppliers, inventory. If you use bill of materials, it's setting up your bill of materials, your projects, your multi-currency. So everything happens under edit. Process, it's everything you can process. Your journals, your cash books, your customers, your suppliers, your inventory journals, your stock takes. So everything that you can process goes under process, and view is all your reports. Change is when you have to make changes to the system. So you're deleting history, clearing files, not a feature available in Sage Business Cloud Accounting, I'm afraid, just that one. Are you deleting or making inactive customers, suppliers? Are you running a year end? So this is all about changing the system. And then we've got our setup, which is setting it up, setting up my users, setting up my periods, setting up my tax. So making sure that the setup is correct so we can process. However, in Sage Business Cloud Accounting, if we look at the top, it's all about what am I working with. So that's a bit of a difference, because in Pastel, I know if I go to view, that's where I create everything. Here, you create under what you are creating. So here, am I working with customers? Am I working with suppliers? Am I working with inventory? Am I working with bank? And then everything to do with customers is here. You can add a customer. You can see your listings. You can process. So it's your transactions, all of your transactions, including your matching, all of my customer reports, special, which is just to adjust your opening balances. And then these are some of our add-on modules: time tracking, debtors manager. Suppliers are the same, items, banking, accountants area. This is if you invite your accountant. Guys, some of you, if you are using Sage Business Cloud Accounting, you may not have access to everything that I have. I am using the Accountants Edition. Please bear that in mind. So please don't go, how do I get to the accountant's dashboard? I don't have that. If you are on a normal package, you will not have that. That is specific to the Accountants Edition, as is the company console and a number of the options under the accountants area. So guys, please don't worry if I go over something and you're like, I do not have that. You probably don't have the Accountants Edition. For my BPs, this is the edition you want. And for my accountants, this is the edition you want. So guys, that already is a bit of a change. You know, now you've got to change your mindset. Oh, it's not about what am I doing, it's about what I'm working with. Or it's not about what am I working with, it's about what am I doing. So depending which product you're on, you're going to have to change your mindset on how you do things. Another very big difference is for my Pastel people, you won't know where I'm going. For Sage Business Cloud Accounting people, you probably will. Account code, suppliers, account code, general ledger, has an account code. Now, my Pastel people, you may have realized where I'm going with this. In Pastel Accounting, account codes are very, very big. This is how we work everything out. If we've got 10 checkers, we don't care because each checkers has a different account code. Sage Business Cloud Accounting doesn't work that way. Customers, suppliers, and GL accounts work with descriptions. Now, before some people get despondent and go, how am I going to do this? Guys, again, it's just trying to change your mindset and going, okay, I've got 10 checkers, and yes, I've had this question. How do I now differentiate that? Guys, you're going to have to look at maybe the area. Okay, I've got checkers North Riding. I've got checkers Four Ways. I've got checkers Santon. And you're just going to have to actually put them like that, checkers Santon. It's not a train smash. It is okay. You just are going to have to change the way that you set up your Sage Business Cloud Accounting if you want to move to Sage Business Cloud Accounting, because it's as daunting for someone moving from Sage Business Cloud Accounting to move to Pastel when they've got to suddenly come up with 300, 3,000, 10,000 codes because it's code driven. So guys, that's a very big difference. Pastel is code driven, Sage Business Cloud Accounting is description driven. Thank you for the question, just about to get there. So guys, that being said, I did mention that in Sage Business Cloud Accounting, even your accounts don't have a code. Now, my people on Pastel are going, what about sub-accounts, Joe? How do we set up the sub-accounts? Don't worry, yes, you can still set up sub-accounts. What we've got to remember is what is a sub-account and what is a main account. A main account is the umbrella that all the other accounts fall under. We cannot process to a main account. We cannot select the main accounts. It is only there for reporting purposes if we want to see an overview. So in essence, it's actually just a description. And guys, I'm saying that to make sense to how we set up our reporting groups. So in Sage Business Cloud Accounting, it's just called reporting groups. And basically what you'll do here is you will select what you need to. You will click on the pin and you will give it a name. So for example, Sales Gauteng. And what this will do is this is now my main account. These are my sub accounts. So that's what I've basically done. So you'll set up your accounts as per normal, but then you'll need to set up your reporting groups. And when you set up your reporting groups, if we look at our, guys, I think that I'm in my company that isn't set up for this. Can you give me a quick yes, I am. I just want to move to my other company. Sorry, it's just because it's all set up there. So if I go to my financial statements, if we look at our filters, we can see that in our filters, it tells us accounting report group detail. So if you tick to see the detail, it's the same as going main with sub accounts. If you untick the detail, it's just going to give you your main, from what I understand. If I'm wrong, please let me know. But to my knowledge, that's how that tick works. That's how it's been explained to me. Sorry, guys, that I do ask for your help here, but I just need to make sure that I'm right there. But that's where this comes into play. And guys, honestly, that's your main account is just there to go based on all of these sub accounts. My main account is actually 50,000, and then you can break it down into the others. So you can have sub accounts. You just need to set up reporting groups in Sage Business Cloud Accounting. Let me know if you need me to explain that in more detail. Items, however, still include codes on both. So on both, you have codes for your items. The only thing is, guys, Sage Business Cloud Accounting has an add-on module called Advanced Inventory, and that is to allow you to integrate your inventory to your GL. If you do not have the Advanced Inventory module, so again, guys, in Pastel, this is something that you choose. It's actually a standard in all of them. For those for our Sage Business Cloud accounting people are like, what do you mean by that? Basically, if we go to setup inventory, in our setup inventory, you have something called integration groups, and you can choose to integrate to the general ledger or not. And this is built in. This is a choice that you make. If you don't integrate to your general ledger, what will happen is your inventory master or your inventory control account. There we go. Sorry, guys. Totally lost the word for a moment there. Your inventory control account will not be affected. So when you bring in inventory, it's not going to integrate to it. It's not going to use the running totals, inventory in, inventory out, inventory in, inventory out. So normally you have to do a stock take every couple of months, because knowing how much or what the value of your inventory on hand is very important. You also need to know, hey, do I need to order this or not? So people find that actually integrating your inventory is a lot easier. And the only reason it's a lot easier is because it actually keeps up with that. Now, obviously, guys, Pastel doesn't know if someone has stolen your merchandise, which I hope doesn't happen to any of you, but we live in this time, in this world, and those things happen. People steal. So Pastel won't know if someone's stolen, or maybe there was an accident and a box of your goods got broken. Pastel won't know that. So even if you integrate your inventory, and even if you go, I really want this advanced inventory module now that Ryan's explained this sounds awesome, you still have to do a stock take, guys. Because there are things that are outside the realm of a computer knowing. It doesn't know if people steal stuff. It doesn't know if people break stuff. It doesn't know if your customers steal stuff. You know, things happen. Dog comes in and whittles on something, and you don't want to save that. You don't want to sell it anymore because you know, the system won't know that. So stock takes are still necessary, even if you have an integrated inventory, because the stock take goes, this is what the system, whatever I'm using, thinks I have, and this is what I actually have. And you're just double checking and going, yes, I do, no, I don't. And then it posts a adjustment if it needs to. Now, as I said, Sage Business Cloud Accounting, its main module is not integrated. So you would have to do a stock take every couple of months to go, hey, this is what I have, this is what I don't have, okay, cool. This is what I have, this is what I don't have, okay, cool. But you can get the same functionality through the add-on module. Now, something that Partner has, specifically Partner, Pastel Partner, Express does not have it, is something called Multistores. Sage Business Cloud Accounting doesn't have that, guys. So there are things that you can do, but it is not the same as Multistores, and you need to bear that in mind. So in Sage Business Cloud Accounting, you can set up a sales and a purchase account per item. Now, that can kind of work as multi-stores, but not really. You miss all the reporting, and it's not a group. So in Pastel, you don't set that up for our Sage Business Cloud Accounting people. Here, you set it up per item. In Pastel, what you do is you set up something called a group. So let's say you are a clothing store and you sell shirts, and you sell trousers, and you can almost use your groups as a category, and you can set up all of my shirts must go to this sales account, all of my, and this cost of sales account. You could even split your inventory. It's totally up to you, and you can set that up. Now, that is whether you have multi-stores or not. When you have multi-stores, the difference here, so guys, this is more groups, if I put it that way. This is more, Sage Business Cloud Accounting doesn't have groups, so this is how you would do your groups. If you want groups, you would do it that way. You would go and create, for example, sales shirts, sales trousers, and you would just set them up depending on the category, but it's a very manual process. Whereas in Pastel, basically, guys, what we do is if we go to edit inventory item file, we just set the group then. We go, okay, this is dresses, this is that. Stores, on the other hand, are when you have multiple stores and you can then go and create that specific store and link the item to the store. Now, Sage Business Cloud Accounting can't do that. And Partner allows you to actually, based on that, pull certain of your inventory information based on the actual store. So you can see a specific store and go, I need to know what the history is for this item for the store. Now, guys, yeah, you could go and create GL accounts, for example, Joburg and Gauteng, and that's great. But if you want it for shirts, trousers, and, you know, dresses, you're going to have a lot of accounts, because then you're going to have sales shirts Joburg, sales shirts Cape Town, and you can do that. But again, it's not truly multi-stores. That's what I want to get at. You can mimic it to an extent, but it is not going to truly be multi-stores. There is no inter-store transfer. So you need to bear that in mind. If you are using Partner, you are using multi-stores, you need to actually think long and hard if you want to move to Sage Business Cloud Accounting, how you would do this, what functions you use of the multi-store module, and could you mimic it by you setting up accounts in Sage Business Cloud Accounting, or are you happy to just not have it? Totally up to you. Guys who are coming from Sage Business Cloud Accounting, very interesting to play with groups, very fun. So that's something you can look at. Okay, it's no longer about setting up specific GL accounts. I have to set up my GL accounts, then I need to set up my groups, then I need to link it to my items. So basically, you would first have to come in and edit your GL and split, make sub-accounts for your sales account. Guys, a tip when making sub-accounts, and I've seen this even for my Sage 50 people, where I see people start like this and they do 1,100, 1,200. Guys, we can only go up to 999. There is a limit. While I know that seems like a very high number, if you're just doing 100, basically you're limiting yourself to like 9 sub-accounts. So my advice would be, please, when you are creating your sub-accounts, give yourself room for growth, because I've seen it where people mess this up and then they're like, hey, I need to change this. And it's basically a case of, well, start new company, take on balances. Because, yeah, it's not going to work. So guys, remember that you can actually start at 001. Just a tip, because I've seen that happen. And then basically you would then do your sales jerseys and sales pants and etc, etc. So just to show you how that works here, and then you would need to go and set it up in your groups. So then you go and create your inventory groups like I did, and you would select that sales account. Guys, just so that you know, you can also, if you do need to create your sub accounts from that screen. Okay, there we go. I thought that was going to bomb out. You can actually, from here, you can add by going F6. Sorry, yeah, it is F6. Yes. Sorry, for a second I thought I was wrong and it was F7, but it is F6. You can then create the new account from here as well. So you don't have to like be in a million different places, but that's how that would work. Then guys, just other places in the system and things that are a bit different is if we go to our change company settings. I'm going to show you in Pastel Accounting in a bit, but here guys, we have, again, you've got your company details, your additional company details. It's very similar. It's just where you set it up in the two that differs. But then under general settings, guys, the way that you run a year end is very, very different. For my Pastel people, you are going to hate how easy it is in Sage Business Cloud Accounting. I just ran a year end. Basically, you just plus the year. It is that simple. However, that does not mean that Sage Business Cloud Accounting does not have pre-checks and does not have post-checks. You still need to check the information. You still need to make sure that the information is correct. And guys, this might seem dangerous if you are also coming from Pastel Accounting, because you're going, but now what about your last year journals? What about your year-end journals that you're going to have to do? What do you do when, you know, how do you process those now? What happens? So guys, there's something called a lockdown date. And that is very important for year-end, month-end, whatever you want to use it for. And basically what a lockdown date does is, if you untick it, it's going to let you process in any year that you want to. So you can come in, tick the year you want to process in, save, and guys, basically what's going to happen is it's going to let me process in that specific year. It's going to let me go into my 2019 to 2020 year process. It will update all of the history. And once I'm done, I can come back, select the year that I actually want to use. And then guys, if I've submitted, so I've done my year end, I'm done, I've submitted, this is where you need to set a lockdown date. And you can do this monthly, as we said. You may not want certain of your users to process in the whole year. You may be like, hey, okay, well, March is done, so lockdown date set. What that means is that even if they can change the year, they can't process in that year. And look, guys, generally you won't give them access to this menu. So you should be the person that has to come and change the date, but you can set that lockdown date. And it will lock people from processing in that. Can you limit access to the FY function? Do you mean in Sage Business Cloud Accounting or Sage Pastel Accounting? And I don't know why I'm actually asking you that, because the answer is yes on both. You just limit the fact that people have access to the specific menu. Sorry, doesn't really matter which one. Yes, it's just where you set it up that differs. So you can totally take away access here, and you can totally take away access in Pastel. Yeah, I realized when I asked which product, it didn't matter, because the answer is yes on both. Sorry, the person just said thank you, you answered it. I don't know why I asked you which one. So guys, yeah. Then in Pastel, now for my Sage Business Cloud Accounting people, this might be a bit of like a whoa, that's a lot. You have to specifically run something called a Yearend Assistant. It is an entire process. If you have open batches, you cannot run it. It literally stops you from running this. You have to update every open batch. Customers, suppliers, inventory, you cannot have an open batch in the system at all unless you put your customer and supplier documents on hold, and only the documents that are processed in Pastel. If you use point of sale, it has to be updated too. And then you have to run through this whole process. Again, can you block access to this process? Yes, but Pastel has something called periods. And you can also block clients from processing in what we call in Pastel multi-processing. So you can either choose to have a user be a multi-processing user, or you can make them only process in one period at a time, and that's where the current period comes in. So if you don't give them access to that function, every time you reach the end of a period, you will have to come in and change the current period, because that will allow them to then only work in that period. You can also use an option called increment period. Now guys, since we got asked about menu access, since I'm in Pastel, how you do that is one person has to be the supervisor in both programs. You have to have a supervisor. You have to have the admin user, the main person who has access to everything. that person will also have access to setup and users. Now you can obviously choose how many, in Pastel we call them supervisors, but you can choose how many supervisors you have. So basically you would go to search and you would choose an unused user here. And you can choose if they have access or not. Now there are some groups set up, and if you don't know what access the groups have, I will show you where you can go and check that, set it up, change it, etc. But you may not want them to have access to everything, and instead of a group, you may choose personalized. I think I might have used that already. So. Guys, this is where, if it's personalized, this is where you're going to come and you're going to actually set up what menu access can you have. And then you literally just tick the access. Can I have access to year-end? Nope. Can I have access to setup? Nope. Not at all. Or yes, you can have some access, but I don't want you to have access to users, for example. Or I don't want you to have access to customers, for example. So guys, it's entirely up to you. Okay, only supervisors have access to menu. So guys, that was something that we brought in. I didn't realize that they had, but we brought that in because sometimes there is a need for a user to actually have access to everything. But for example, users and passwords, I don't want them to control that. So what we've done is, based on a suggestion we received, we got told only supervisors should have access to this, then I don't have to worry about my users having access to setup, and that's what we allowed. So if you don't have access to users, you're not the supervisor. But basically that's your menu access. Then guys, when I was talking, I said then we can have multi-period processing, and that is a setting on Pastel. So you can choose, yes, multi-period processing means they can process throughout the whole year. You then can't stop that. So it's not a case of the lockdown date where you can go, okay, you do have access to everything, but I'm going to stop you. Either they can process in every period or they can't. It's that simple. So again, you go through your process options and you tick what they can and cannot process to. And that is in Pastel Accounting. If we look at Sage Business Cloud Accounting, this is where you go to manage users. Hopefully the system's going there. And basically in manage users, you can then, sorry guys, I think, yeah, this is just where you select, my apologies, you go to control user access. So to add a user is in manage users, and then you control the user access. So this is where you're going, okay, this is my user. What company can they have access to? Firstly, so you'll check the company. And then you're going to give them permissions to that. And again, guys, basically you just click and you're going to go through. You're going to go, okay, in the accountants area, what can they do, for example? Or in administration, is this a control user access? Is this an accountants edition user? That type of thing, you know, what can they do? And you're just going to go through all of the different options. And basically you just plus and read what it says and go, can they change the company settings, which is where the financial years are? No, I don't want them to be able to change that. Can they lock processing? No, I don't want them to be able to change that. So guys, it's entirely up to you. This is your access. So you create under manage users and you control the user access under control user access. Then guys, just back to Pastel Accounting, I did mention that you can set up user groups. So if you go to set up users and passwords user groups, this is where you can come in. And look, a lot of these have been set up by default, like view only. It's not going to let you change anything. But yeah, for full accounting, you can go and check, okay, based on full accounting, what do we think full accounting is, and do you agree? If you don't agree, you can change these options up. You can also create your own user group. So you have 5 people doing the same thing. You don't want to set all 5 of them up. You would rather set up one group called front office, and you would rather set up their menu access, their process access once. Then when you go to set up users and passwords users, where it says user group, instead of supervisor or personalized, you go front office, done. 5 users created in a couple of seconds. So it copies. So yeah, guys, there's that option with the year ends. As you can see, Pastel Accounting is a bit of a process, and Sage Business Cloud Accounting is pretty simple, but that doesn't mean that the pre and post year-end checks aren't there. Then guys, in regional settings, a lot of people assume that this is the only place that this is necessary for Sage Business Cloud Accounting. That is not true. And my Pastel people are very aware of region because we've probably gone over it a lot. Now, for Pastel Accounting, and actually for Windows in general, your region should be set up correctly. The reason that I say Sage Business Cloud Accounting also needs to set up correctly is because if you plan on importing the 3 transaction types you can import, Excel needs to have the region set correctly, or you are going to get errors when importing. Now, if you are a Pastel user and you are not aware of this, guys, you set up your region in your control panel. I am using Windows 10, as I think most of us are nowadays, so it would just be under region, depending if you're using large icons. If you're using category, it's clock and region, and then region. And if you use small icons, it's also region. You would come in here. Guys, these are both South African products, so they work best when set to English South Africa. And then we're going to go to additional settings. Decimal symbols should be a full stop. Digit grouping symbol should be a comma. A lot of the time I will see a semicolon or a colon. What that does is that puts everything in the first column. Please do not do that, guys. We don't give you these settings because we kind of think they work. We give you these settings because these are the settings to make it work. A semicolon or a colon puts everything in column A. You will get errors. So comma and list separator is also a comma. On currency, decimal symbol is a full stop. Digit grouping symbol is a comma. So we do this to make sure that the systems work and Excel integrates with either Pastel or Sage Business Cloud Accounting. The reason that we set the short date to the South African standard, day, month, year, is because normally it is set to month, date, year, which is the American standard because Microsoft is an American product. But our South African banks do not use month, day, year. They use day, month, year. So guys, if you're going to import your statements into Bank Manager, even if you're doing direct feeds, you may get the error message, invalid format. Please make sure your short date is correct. Day, month, year. Depending on your bank, depends on if it's 2 YYs or 4. In general, I have found most banks use 4. Okay, so guys, I've got a question with regards to, do we have migration tools to move the companies and history from one product to another? Can you also regress to previous product? So I am going to answer this. Unless you need to leave for whatever reason, can I answer this probably in the next 15 minutes? Because I am actually getting to it. Let me know, otherwise I'll answer it now for you. So guys, please make sure that this is correct. I do see a raised hand. For the raised hand, if it's someone who's asked a question, awesome. If not, please ask your question, guys. I know we're getting to 11 o'clock, which means I've already done this for an hour and there's still quite a bit to go through. If you do need to leave for whatever reason and you have a question, ask the question, just go, Joe, need to leave, can you answer? Happy to answer the question. So guys, that is on the region. Then on both products, we have something called outstanding balances. So this is your aging, these are your balances, these are your terms. Now, my Pastel people, you will know that you can run both day and month-based at the same time. So if we go to edit customer accounts, and it's the same for suppliers, guys, if we go to terms, you can select month-based or day-based. This is an option. And then you set up your options per customer. In Sage Business Cloud Accounting, you do not have that option. You can either go monthly or day-based. However, guys, what I have found, and I've checked with them and this does work, if you need to do both, the best option, untick monthly, choose what your aging runs on. Is it invoice date or payment date? I think that's pretty straightforward. Then when you set up your customers or your suppliers, when you set up the days, 30, 60, 90, or your 7, 14, or whatever the days are. So if it is month-based, you can still go 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. It's just you're using the days, not last month, this month, next month, that type of thing. So guys, I find that that works, and they've said that is their workaround for that. So just on that, then there are a few things that are really nice that that Sage Business Cloud Accounting has, one of which is the fact that you can have email signatures. No, Pastel Accounting doesn't have that. And guys, it's not for lack of trying. We have tried. It's very difficult. It's something to do with the coding of the MAPI and the fact that because we use Outlook, technically Pastel is seen as a third-party application. We're trying to get the plugin to work. We have tried in the past. We have not been successful. And while it is still a suggestion on our books, I cannot tell you when it may or even if be implemented. At this point, can you include digital signatures for Pastel? No. Can you include them for Sage Business Cloud Accounting? Yes. That's awesome. I also do find that the user-defined fields in Sage Business Cloud Accounting are a little bit more user-friendly than what they are in Pastel, to be honest. You can literally come in here and actually tell it what you want the fields to be. And then when you are creating, for example, your actual supplier, it won't say text field 1. It'll actually say supplier code, maximum, minimum, whatever extra information you need. And if you had to, I think it's my list of suppliers. Yeah, guys, you can even then basically customize the grid and you can choose, okay, I actually want to see that supplier code. So you can choose to include the user-defined fields here and it'll bring that up. So I think that's kind of cool. Then guys, something that both ways you might find a bit difficult is Sage Business Cloud Accounting uses something called analysis codes. Pastel Accounting, it used to be called cost codes. Let me just reject that. It is now called projects. And we can set up unlimited projects. In Sage Business Cloud Accounting, guys, you can only have 3 analysis codes at a time. That being said, you can have unlimited categories. Okay, guys, I've obviously frozen my system somehow. I am sorry about that. But you can have unlimited categories within a code. So what I found is to make this work, I just said projects and then I just listed the projects. So I actually call this project, but you only have 3 codes to use. But in those 3 codes, you can have unlimited categories. So if, for example, guys, you want the drill down that Project Tracker has, Project Tracker is specific to partner again. We can, for example, go country, sorry. I mean, here we call it province. If I can spell, still don't know if that's right. And city. But you would have to decide, okay, what 3 do I want to use? And then based on that, you could, for example, UK, USA, RSA, and so on. Then you can put the province or the county or whatever you want to call it, and then you can put your city. So guys, you just need to be careful. There are only 3 here. In Pastel, basically you can create unlimited projects. Again, codes, not just descriptions. But then what you would do is you would link those projects to groups. And you can see how this works. So you've got the project, then you've got the groups. And you can have unlimited groups. So you can set 10 groups, and then in those groups, you will set up again. So it's just actually linking that all together. So a lot of people, in terms of our reporting, our project reporting is quite extensive. So you can see that's what you can report on if you are running Project Tracker and Partner. If you are running Express, guys, you will have far fewer reports, but there are still specific reports for projects. For in Sage Business Cloud Accounting, when processing, you can use these analysis codes and then on your reports themselves. Again, there would be an option to include the analysis reports. I just need to find one that actually has it. Not all the reports do. I would have thought TV would have had it though. There, analysis codes. And then you can group it by those analysis codes. So guys, that is another bit of a difference between the two. Setting up projects is quite time consuming. Setting up analysis codes isn't, but you have to be careful on how you set it up. Then guys, there are a couple of things that you are going to want to do in one that may be different to the other. For example, if you are used to using Sage Business Cloud Accounting and you need to run your year end, you will know that you use the quantities on hand quick entry grid. 1, because you can create multiple lines at a time, and 2, because this is one of the few things in Sage Business Cloud Accounting that you can import. So you can create an import layout, you can import it, and this is what you should use for your stock take. Sage Pastel Accounting has a very specific utility that you run, and it is called a count inventory. So guys, this is a specific stock take. This is what we use. You do a snapshot, you print your stuff out, and then you come in and you enter them. You can also import them, but in Pastel Accounting, because of all the add-on modules, there is the no module layout, there is the multi-store layout, there is the serial number layout, and there is the multi-store and serial number layout. So you have 4 layouts you have to choose from, and you have to get those layouts correct. Guys, to my knowledge, I've uploaded the videos on that. I will check them. If I haven't, I will make sure that I recreate them and upload them before the end of October. But to my knowledge, they are actually there. They're just in our year-end center. For those of you who are like, I would love to be able to import, but I have no clue how it works. There is documentation on this, but I have also created videos, and I'm pretty sure I did them for year end last year. Checklist videos. There we go. So here the videos are if you want to look at those. So obviously in Sage Business Cloud Accounting, that's a little bit simpler. And the reason it's simpler is because it's just column A, B, and C. And if you don't know how it looks, you can either view an example or download an example, and it's item code, new average cost, and quantity on hand. Done. Service items, you put as 0. So guys, this is how you do a stock take in Sage Business Cloud Accounting. This is how you do a stock take in Sage Pastel Accounting. It is a very specific process. It is a very specific wizard. There are very specific things that you have to do, and there are videos and documents on this. Extensive videos and documents on this to make sure, because we understand that it is complex, we get it right. So guys, please go watch those if you're unsure. Then guys, another place that you can import your transactions is into your banking in Sage Business Cloud Accounting. You can import your bank statements. You can also do that in Pastel Accounting through Bank Manager. You can also set up direct feeds in both, or bank feeds in both. Both have bank feeds. You can set them up, but you can also choose to import. And then the last place that you can import into Sage Business Cloud Accounting is your journal entries. Now, to Sage Business Cloud Accounting people, this may seem unfair, but you can basically import anything you want into Sage Pastel Accounting. The only thing that you cannot import is your general ledger if you already have a general ledger. But you can import your cash book transactions, your journal transactions, your documents, invoices, credit notes, debit notes. Basically, most things have an import function. In Sage Business Cloud Accounting, so if you are on Pastel Accounting and you're thinking of coming here, guys, you can only import into 3 places. Something that is very cool though is that if you are running Express and you're keen to move to Sage Business Cloud Accounting, they have recurring journals, recurring customer journals. One of the things that I love about the recurring journals in Sage Business Cloud Accounting is that you can choose whether it creates a draft similar to Sage Pastel Accounting or whether they run automatically. Guys, I think that is really a cool function. So you can choose that this runs at a specific schedule and it will happen automatically. Now, some people have said, oh, the partner has scheduled invoicing. Yes, it's still not automatic. Sage Business Cloud Accounting is actually automatic. Obviously, if you need to change anything, it's not great if it's run automatically. So that's where you need to decide very carefully. Is it going to be automatically? Is it going to be as a draft? And it also has recurring journal entries. Now, guys, the reason it's not that Sage Pastel doesn't have this, Sage Pastel Express does not have this. So if you're on Sage Business Cloud Accounting and you keep talking about Partner Express, what is this? In Pastel Accounting, we have 2 different sets of products. We have Express, which is our smaller product, kind of like if you're running Windows Home. Windows actually installs with all its features up to Pro, but it cuts off part of the system and it only allows you certain features in Home. Partner is the Pro version. So Express, there are certain things you can't do in Express. There are certain add-on modules that will not work with Express. There's certain functionality like recurring batches that do not exist in Express. But they do exist in Partner. So in Partner, we do have recurring invoices, but in order to take those recurring invoices and make them normal invoices, you have to run the recurring invoice wizard. So you'd have to manually go into tax invoice, and you would have to say copy recurring. Now, in Sage Business Cloud Accounting, it will take the recurring batch and make them tax invoices without you doing anything. It will just be in a draft batch, so you can go in, edit, and then update. If it runs automatically, what it'll do is it'll make the batch and update it and send it to your customers, and you don't have to do anything. So Partner still requires the manual option. And we do have also journals that are recurring journals. Then guys, I want to touch back to where I said I would answer your question shortly. So guys, there was a really awesome question that was asked, and it says, do we have migration tools to move companies and history from one product to another? And can you regress to previous products? So from what I'm understanding by regress is you're going, let's say I was on Partner and I've moved to Sage Business Cloud Accounting and I want to go back to Partner. That's what I understand. Let me know if I'm wrong. But do we have migration tools? So guys, we do have migration tools, but only if you are moving from, or you have clients who are moving from Xero, QuickBooks, or Sage Pastel Accounting, so Sage 50 Cloud. Sage Pastel Accounting to Sage Business Cloud Accounting. If you are on Sage Business Cloud Accounting and you're looking at 50 or Pastel Accounting and you're going, this is my product, this is what I should be using, unfortunately, there is no migration tool. If you want to move to Pastel Accounting, you will have to create master files, import those master files, and take on balances. I do have a very lengthy video. I think it's about an hour and a half on take on balances. It's one of the first videos I uploaded, and it was from a webinar. But unfortunately, it's not, the migration tool doesn't work both ways. It allows you to migrate to Sage Business Cloud Accounting. It doesn't allow you to migrate from it. So if you are going to look at this, guys, this is something that you should probably look at around year end. Maybe stick with the product you're with until year end, especially if you're going to move to Pastel Accounting from Sage Business Cloud Accounting or from another package. And then you can take on those balances. But we only have a migration tool for Sage Business Cloud Accounting. So you can move between the two products, but you can only migrate your historical data one way, and that's to Sage Business Cloud. Sage Pastel Accounting, you have to take on balances. Import or create master files, take on balances. Okay, so guys, I think that I've covered the main things that are different. I think that I've given you a good idea of the difference between them. There actually, I lie. There is one other thing that I want to go through, because the feature exists, but it isn't the way it looks. So in Sage Business Cloud Accounting, you have something called Auto Allocate Receipts to Oldest Down. This is a checkbox. Now, some of you may already be going, yeah, Joe, that's balance forward. If you check it, it's balance forward, and if it's unchecked, it's open item. And you are correct. You are absolutely correct. You can do that. And that is exactly what it is. In Pastel, to my Sage Business Cloud Accounting guys, we call this open item and balance forward. And basically, all that is open item means that we are matching. So if you've got 5 invoices that make up $50,000 and your client pays you $13,000 and it's for invoice 5493, you can go and match that $15,000 to invoice 9453 and tell them, hey, 3367 is start standing for 60 days. Come, where's my money? So that is open item, it's matching. In Sage Business Cloud Accounting, this would be unticked. So open item and untick is exactly the same. If we tick it, this is balance forward, what we call balance forward. And what that means is I've got 5 invoices that make up 50,000. Client pays me 13,000 or 15,000. 15,000 minus 50,000 is 35,000. Done. There's no matching. I can't tell them, hey, you still owe me for this invoice. All that I can tell them is, you still owe me 35 grand. Please, can you make payments? So guys, that's what it is. Do you want to match? Don't you want to match? What control do you want to have? And those are the different ways that we refer to it. In Pastel, it's called open item and balance forward. In Sage Business Cloud Accounting, it's allocate receipts automatically to the oldest down. Tick is balance forward, untick is open item. I think that was the last thing that I wanted to chat about specifically there. Then guys, if we go back to company settings, someone mentioned history, and thank you for reminding me because I actually had forgotten. I'm so sorry about that. If we go to personal information, it will ask you, choose how many years you would like to retain personal information for. And guys, this is our SARS regulation. The most you can go to is 10 years. That is the most that it will retain, is 10 years. And then guys, when we spoke about the history, you can then access your history based on your reports. So here, just to give you an answer, because it was with regard to Sage Business Cloud Accounting, I want to show you the report filters, because you were like, I don't know how I see all of my history if I don't have different companies. Life to date, year to date, quarter to date, month to date. So you can, based on the different options, go back. So we have custom dates, and you can go and check your custom dates as far back as when you started. Obviously, it's just for reporting purposes, but that would be in most of your reports that you can actually do that for. So customer transactions, for example. You also have your life to date or custom dates. So just with regards to that history, the most history that can be kept is 10 years. And guys, in this country, they insist on 5. After 5 years, you can get rid of it. You are not required to keep that anymore, and you shouldn't actually need to refer back 5 years. The only time that happens is when you mess up your tax and something goes missing, and then your company doesn't have your IRP5. And yes, I've been in that situation. Thank goodness it's resolved. It was not pleasant, I will tell you. But guys, hopefully I've answered all of your questions. If I haven't and you still have a question, or you're like, Joe, that was a bit vague, you kind of gave me an answer, but it wasn't what I was looking for, please let me know. If there are other questions, guys, this is your time. Please ask your questions through and let me know. Okay, can you copy 10 years across from Pastel Accounting? To my knowledge, okay, so guys, Pastel Accounting, let me explain how its history works, because obviously you can only copy one data set across at a time. You can't go, hey, here are 5 data sets. Please can you combine these 5 data sets and then copy it across. So the way that Pastel does history is you can only basically access in reports, and it's something to bear in mind. This is why the person asked me about their history for my Sage Business Cloud Accounting, guys. Your reports can only be seen for this year and last year, basically. So if you need to go back to year 3, what we normally do is we'll go File, Open, Manage, and normally there'll be a whole bunch of companies. I think that sorry guys, I've got various versions of 19. But here you'll see I've got a whole bunch of different companies. Now, for example, that's year 22, that's 21, that's 19. If I need to go back to the year before last year, I will open up my 20 companies. So for example, demo 20, and it will have 2019 and 2020 in. If I need to go to 2018, I will open my 19 company or my 18 company. So that's how Pastel works. It doesn't allow you to run reports for more than this year and last year. So that is just something that you need to bear in mind, is that in order to be able to see information in Pastel, you would need to have multiple companies. Now, when we say, can you copy 10 years? although you can only see 2 years of data, if you have never deleted your data, and guys, I did cover this in the Sage 50 Cloud Company Management webinar. I ran it at the beginning of the year. To my knowledge, it is on my YouTube channel. You're welcome to go watch it. I think that I've uploaded that one already, but we spoke about deleting history. If you never delete history in Pastel Accounting, the history is always there. So if you have 10 years in your company data set, so we are going to migrate demo, and it contains 10 years of history, yes, all of that history, to my knowledge, will be migrated across. If, however, you only have 2 years of information in that company, then only the history in that company will be migrated. Does that make sense? So as well, if you are keen on moving, and I'm assuming that you're keen on moving to Sage Business Cloud Accounting. So I hope that makes sense, or that I'm correct in my assumption, because that's what I'm assuming. If you are keen to move to Sage Business Cloud Accounting, because the question is, how long would you have access to the history if you no longer want to pay for the license? Guys, what happens is if you cancel your subscription to your Pastel Accounting, the software is going to go into a view-only mode. So you will always be able to view your history, always. You will be able to view it, but you will not be able to process. So you will be able to come in and you will be able to open a company and you will see File, View, Help. That is it. Those are the menu options available to you. You will not be able to process, but you will always be able to view your history. And yes, you could absolutely run your reports from there. If my Pastel license expires, will I be able to view all the details? Okay, that was, yeah. So a very similar question to the person who was like, how long can I view my history? Guys, you can always view your history in Pastel. So if you have Pastel installed, all that's going to happen, basically what's going to happen here is you always have to register your package, and this depends on your renewal date. So sorry for, oh, yes, I do want it to do that. Sorry, guys. For a second there, I was like, damn, I messed something up. I didn't. In Pastel, so Sage Business Cloud Accounting, guys, you don't have this problem. In Sage Business Cloud Accounting, guys, if you don't pay, you don't have access to the system. Like, that's the way that it is. You'll try to log in and the computer will say no. If anyone knows where that comes from, computer says no, I'll be very impressed. It is from a series. I absolutely love the series. But basically, your computer will say no. In Pastel, we can't do that. But what we can do is when you register, you normally register, please note, guys, not an actual serial number. It's just for Pastel. And please don't use this access code. It's specific to that code. So this code gets generated based on things like your computer name and which version of Pervasive you're running, how many users you are, that type of thing. And what they've done is they've coincided this to run with your actual license. So here, guys, you can see mine is going to expire very shortly. When this expires, the system goes, oh, this is expired. So we're going to give you File, View, and Help, but we're not going to give you anything else. You need to have a valid date. And that's how we use Pastel. So you will always be able to view your history. We can't lock you out of a desktop application. Unfortunately, with cloud products, they can. They can tell you that you haven't paid and your login has expired. And if you're on Sage Business Cloud Accounting and you let it expire, guys, you will not have access. So that is just something to bear in mind. But with Pastel, always, you can always view your history. As long as your companies are there and it's installed, you will be fine. And yes, it's from the IT crowd. It's on Netflix if anyone's interested. It's hysterical. Or I think it's hysterical anyway. So guys, if you choose to migrate from Pastel Accounting or 50C, depending on what you want to call it, to Sage Business Cloud Accounting, it copies everything. It's all your transactional history, all your master files, everything will be in Sage Business Cloud Accounting. The only thing is, if you do have multiple of the same description, you're going to have a problem. So that is something that you're going to want to look at before you migrate. So remember where I said Sage Business Cloud Accounting does not use codes, but Pastel does. So if you have Pick and Pay 4 times and the description is just Pick and Pay, while yes, it will copy the customer information, you'll see the different addresses. Initially, you're going to have Pick and Pay, Pick and Pay, Pick and Pay, Pick and Pay, and you're going to be in a list going, which one is it? This might be before when you migrate, where you want to go and go, okay, I'm going to go Pick and Pay Northgate, Pick and Pay 4 ways. Or if you've got, let's say, 2J Barnards, let me tell you, there are a lot of us out there. You might then need to go JF, for example, if I'm willing to tell you my second name. Or you might need to go Joanne Barnard. You know, you may have to use my whole name or my nickname if you've got 3 Joanne Barnards. Oh, this one is Joanne with a hyphen. I know which one that is. This is Joanne full. And then, oh yeah, Joe likes being called Joe. I'm just going to do Joe Barnard, for example. So guys, this is where you need to go and check that. Make sure that you don't have multiple of the same descriptions if you're going to migrate, because that could kind of make it confusing for you initially. I would work on it in Pastel and then I would migrate, so that you know when you in this new product, because it is going to be unfamiliar to you guys. As much as I say you do know accounting, you probably will find your way, or if you don't, you can get hold of support, they'll help you. It is still a new product. You don't want to be more confused than what you're going to be going, flip, I'm trying to find this feature and it's not here, because there are going to be certain features that are not in Sage Business Cloud Accounting that are in Pastel. There are certain reports that are not going to be here that are in Pastel. There are going to be certain reports that are here that aren't in Pastel, and features that are here that aren't in Pastel. So you need to be aware of that and see which things are the most important to you. With moving to Sage Business Cloud Accounting, my honest advice would be to go to our webpage, which is this one, sage.com/ZA. If you come in here, on the first page, it should, which one is it giving us? Because it might be giving us payroll. We're in mid-year submissions. Okay, it's just, so guys, if you actually scroll down, you can then go Sage Accounting and it's going to take you to our page. And guys, you get 30 days free to try it out. My advice would honestly be, if you're keen, please come try it out. Guys, in terms of the cost, I think that it's pretty much of a muchness between the two. I'm not sales. I'm not here to sell you anything. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But I would definitely do the 30 days free, even with Pastel. If you want to move from Sage Business Cloud Accounting to Pastel, get hold of sales and tell them, hey, can I download the software? Because guys, you can. And when you register, I just want to show you that. You just register as a demo. What it's going to do is it's going to allow you to play in the system. So you're not actually going to be doing your books, but you can go and play with the features. You can go and try to run certain reports, because it's going to give you a demo company that has transactions in. Run your reports, see what those look like, see if it's going to meet what you need it to. And then you can make an informed decision of, I absolutely want to purchase this, or actually I was better on my product, because that's where you regress from product to product. Oh, I thought this would be amazing, but it doesn't have this that I critically need. Now I need to go backward. And if you are moving from Pastel to Sage Business Cloud Accounting and you need to move back, guys, you're going to lose all your history. So please just bear that in mind. I just want to see viewed in the light of being code-driven, and when you migrate, does it copy the customer info as well? It will copy the customer info, but it will exclude the code. So basically, exactly like I said, you'll have like 4 of the basically Checkers or Pick and Pay or J Barnard's or whatever. Is there somewhere to easily view the pricing? Yes. Sorry guys, we were talking about pricing right here next to 30-day trial, plans and pricing. You can absolutely go and have a look. I think it's much of a muchness. So drawing a list of your customers, I would think drawing the list of your customers just to make sure that those descriptions are actually the way that you want them in Sage Business Cloud Accounting would be good. It's not that you have to then import that. Guys, can you import master files into Sage Business Cloud Accounting? Absolutely. So just to show you that, you can import your customers, your suppliers, your items, your assets, your accounts, as well as location categories and locations. So you can obviously import that stuff, but it's not for that reason. If you're going to migrate, that information will be included. But my thing is, we want to make sure that you are migrated as effortlessly and seamlessly as possible, and that what you need in the system is there. Instead of you now having to go through and go, oh, look at this mess, now I've got to fix this. You're already in a new package. That's not going to be fun. I would fix it in the package you're familiar with. I hope that makes sense. I'm not sure if this is actually just a comment to help me, because thank you for that. I did not know that. Or if you're asking. If it is a comment, I appreciate it. So guys, what I've got on my screen right now is when you migrate from Pastel to Cloud, the code is part of the name. To me, that sounds like a statement, but I just want to make sure I'm understanding it correct. If that is a statement, thank you so much. That's awesome. So guys, apparently that's how they do it. If you are asking, I don't know. To be honest, I don't migrate the data. There is a lovely team that migrates that data. I just run these webinars, to be honest. But if that is a statement, thank you. That's incredibly helpful to those of us who didn't know that. And I will remember it in future webinars. Guys, are there any other questions that you have around this? Anything else that you need to tell me? Anything that you need more of an explanation in? Okay, so guys, basically, yes, the code becomes part of the description. So they're included in the description when you copy. So you actually should know exactly who your customers are. That's incredibly helpful. Thank you so much. I did not know that. Just to confirm, you can't import tax invoices. No. Sage Business Cloud Accounting, you can't import your tax invoices, I'm afraid. You have to create them. So there's no import function. Guys, the only thing that you can import transaction-wise into Sage Business Cloud Accounting is your item quick entry grid. You can't even import the top one. The top one is 1 by 1. It's quick entry grid specifically, your bank statements and your accountant area journals. They are the only 3 places at this point. Guys, that doesn't mean that in time, that functionality won't come to Sage Business Cloud Accounting. But at this point in time, it's not here. It's like Sage Business Cloud Accounting, the add-on modules are multi-currency, debtors manager, time and billing, and advanced inventory. That is it. There are no other add-on modules. You can, however, go to the Sage Business Cloud Accounting Marketplace. I know that is here somewhere. Might not be on this page. But guys, please go check out here, the Sage Marketplace, because there may be a third-party app that can plug into Sage Business Cloud Accounting. So because it doesn't have the functionality from us specifically, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So this is something that you can also come and have a look at. Maybe there is something here. Like I know some people have asked about point of sale. And Humble Tills, point of sale, works with Sage Business Cloud Accounting, but it is not our application. It is an API. But you can come and look here and see what options there are, because guys, there are a lot of plugins that do work with Sage Business Cloud Accounting, and maybe what you need is in fact here. So that is also something to bear in mind. Don't write the program off because it doesn't have an add-on module. There may be something that it has that you can use. But yeah, at this point, it only imports those 3 transactional functions. Doesn't mean it won't come. I just can't tell you when that may come. Just confirming. Okay, thanks so much. Is the same true when importing inventory? The code becomes part of the description. No, because inventory in Sage Business Cloud Accounting actually does include codes. So I wouldn't think that would happen. So this is the only thing in Sage Business Cloud Accounting that does have a code. So I would assume inventory, the code and description is kept split. Can I import data into recurring invoices? I think that, sorry, I just want to double check. Into recurring invoices or recurring batches? I don't think so, but I can quickly go check. Again, guys, I'm assuming that we're talking about Sage Business Cloud Accounting here. If we're not, please let me know as a matter of urgency. So no, guys, there's absolutely no import function here at all in Sage Business Cloud Accounting. I'm actually not sure if you can import. I don't think that you can even into the recurring invoices on Pastel. I think that they assume that you would set up. I don't know if you can. I've never tried. Sorry, to be honest, that would actually be lovely to find out. Now that you mentioned that, I'm not sure. No. Oh, yes, in Pastel you can import. So in Pastel you can import into the recurring, but in Sage Business Cloud Accounting you can't. When you receipt cash, does it create a receipt to print in which product? And are we talking about point of sale? Or are we talking about receipting? Okay, so guys, a question that I've been asked is there a resource that is doing webinars for Sage Business Cloud Accounting or for Business Cloud? Sorry, because there are a number of cloud products. And I think that Business Cloud is 200. Okay, so if it is Sage Business Cloud Accounting, guys, between me and another girl, we probably are your resource. So to give you a bit of background, these sessions were started by myself because I started the ones for Sage 50 Cloud, the topic webinars specifically. Then some of the ladies in payroll, Pastel Payroll, started to do the same. And I decided that we needed to move it on. So part of these was to show the difference because I often get asked that question and I thought they would be fun webinars to start with because I actually know probably 90% of the answers. But going forward from October, we want to start topic webinars for Sage Business Cloud Accounting, and that will probably be run by myself and someone else. But in the email you're going to get, that's where we ask you, what topics do you want to see for Sage Business Cloud Accounting? Because I need to know what you're interested in. I can then make sure that, one, I am brushed up on that if I need to run it, because it doesn't help if I'm sitting here going, I have no clue. That is terrible. We're here to educate you. We're here to help you. We're here to make you get the most out of your product. So if I need to run it, I obviously make sure that I know everything. I've gone through it with someone if I'm unsure, and I will know most of the answers. Or the other person who, to my knowledge, is coming from that team. So guys, my main goal is actually to be a specialist on 50cloud, Sage Business Cloud Accounting, Pastel Payroll, and Sage Business Cloud Payroll. That is what I am aiming for. And that's why I'm kind of doing all of this as well. I hope that that answers that question. So guys, I need your input desperately. I don't want to run a very basic webinar on how do we process to customers, and you'll sit there and go, but we know this, why are we doing it? I want what you're interested in. And the same goes for my 50cloud webinars. Guys, we've done a number of topics, and we're actually having a meeting next week. It was meant to be this week, but next week on the topics, and then we're going to make those topics available to you. So please let me know, please fill in that form, or click, copy the link, put it in your email, and please let me know what topics you would like. I would so appreciate it. Then I know that I'm giving you what you need. Okay, so I just want to check. Sorry, you asked a question that's for Sage Business Cloud Accounting. Does it print a receipt when you process a receipt? Not to my knowledge, but I could be wrong. It's actually, I do not know, because when you would process a receipt, you can either do it through banking, or I'm assuming we would do it here, because I actually haven't done it. Add a receipt. Well, you can process and print, so yes. Apparently it would. Here your receipt is, so yes. I stand corrected. Yes, you can. Guys, then another question while I'm just going through the questions. Guys, obviously, if we're talking about the receipting module, it does not have the receipting module, Sage Business Cloud Accounting, but it does look like, yes, you can print receipts. But when you receipt cash, does it print a receipt? Yes, not point of sale. Understood that it wasn't point of sale. Oh, just normal receipting. Yeah, then the screen. Otherwise, guys, I think that that is it for the session. I hope that you found it enjoyable. I hope that you got something out of it. And guys, I'm running one last one on this topic on the 9th of October. After that, it is going to be topic webinars. So again, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you have a fantastic long weekend. I just suddenly realized today is Fake Friday. How awesome is that? Enjoy the weekend, guys, and hopefully I will see you soon, either in the Sage 50 topic webinars or coming very soon, the Sage Business Cloud Accounting topic webinars.